Don't forget to record.
I just stopped my recording.
Okay.
First of all, can everyone hear me? Am I loud enough? Yeah. I guess so. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to my keynote from event to insight, developers first analytics with PostHog. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's crucial for building successful products, product analytics. We'll explore what it is, why it's not just for your product manager, and how a tool called PostHog can help you with that. And let's keep it interactive. Feel free to raise your hand during the presentation to ask questions. No need to wait during the end.
And when you raise your hand, wait for me to come so I can give you the mic and you can ask the question.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's right. Let me introduce myself. I'm Melvin, born in Netherlands, the country of bikes, cheese and tulips. I've been living in South Korea for the past 4 years with my wife and dog. My dog is called Mont and he's an English cream dachshund. You can see him there, it was last year in Switzerland. I'm a full stack developer with a passion for the front-end side of web development. My current stack is TypeScript, React, Next.js and Docker. For the last 13 years, I've been freelancing, working with companies of all kinds of sizes to solve their technical diff challenges. But since the beginning of this year, I've been on a different journey. I've been developing my own SaaS product. So a little self-promotion, let me introduce Chat Service. It's an all-in-one chat platform built for teams, brands, and their customers. It's an omni-channel, which means you can get messages from WhatsApp, Messenger, KakaoTalk, and any chat product into one interface. It also has AI automations to help your team respond faster and smarter. Whether it's a small team, a large brand, Chat Service make your customer communication simple, seamless and efficient. But let's talk about PostHog. So, what is product analytics? At its core, product analytics is about tracking what users do and using the data to make informed decisions and build better things. But let's break it down further because it's way more powerful than it sounds. Here's an example. Imagine you have a amusing sharing application and you want to understand your onboarding flow. So you might track a funnel like this. Like 1,000 users sign up, 800 enter the credit card details, 200 played the first song, but only 100 shared their song. This is a massive drop-off and need investigation. So product analytics tells you how many users complete each step, but more importantly, where they drop off. And answers critical questions like, where are my users getting stuck in onboarding flow? Which feature leads to more conversion rate and higher retention? And what causes users to churn and can be predicted? So building without analytics is like walking in a dark room. You might find the door, or you might hit a wall. Analytics is the light switch. Once it's on, you can really see what's happening. It illuminates user behavior, so you can build the right things at the right time. Today's analytics go far beyond charts and spreadsheets. Tools like PostHog let you see why something happened through session replay, future flags, or A/B tests. It's not just numbers, it's about the full user journey. So who's actually using all this data? You might be thinking, why do I, as a developer, need to care about product analytics? Isn't that for my product manager to show off metrics in meetings? I disagree. Analytics can be and should be applied to specific areas of your product, and different team members use it differently. So for example, a UX designer might use product analytics to understand click behavior with heat maps. They can see exactly where users click, how far they scroll, and which elements get ignored. This data directly informs design decisions, what to make next. And as developers, we can use analytics too to understand which browser or device our users use, which endpoint is slow or giving errors. Analytics help developers to stop guessing and start measuring. The last example are support teams and product teams. Support teams use session replays to see what the user experienced when they report a bug. and product teams using it for future adoption to prioritize road work. There are many analytics tools out there. You might recognize some of them, like Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Amplitude, and of course PostHog. Each has its strength, but let me show you why I use PostHog for all my projects. First and most important, it's fully open source. This means you can inspect the code, contribute to the project, and even self-host it. It's no black box analytics wondering how your data is being processed. It's all visible on GitHub. You also have full flexibility in how to deploy PostHog. You want to get started quickly? You can use the PostHog Cloud. You can choose between the US or EU region. They have a generous free tier and no credit card required. And alternatively, you can also do self-hosting to maintain complete control over your data. For me personally, this is one of the best features. Like currently in the Netherlands and other EU countries, there's a growing movement towards reducing dependencies on US services. So for my company, to be able to assure that the data being stored in Europe and know where it actually is and how it's stored is a key selling point. But here's what PostHog really sets apart. It's not just an analytics tool. Like instead of multiple tools like Mixpanel for analytics, Hotjar for session replay, and LaunchDarkly for future flags, you can get everything into one platform. This means data connects seamlessly. It's a complete product OS that combines a lot of things. And we're going to talk about a few of those. So what is an event? Events are the foundation of everything in PostHog. An event is a user action, like a click, like a page view, form submission, or an API call, or custom business logic. Events also can have properties. Those properties provide context, and that is really important. The more context you have, the more you know. So for an example, this is JavaScript, and all my examples have been JavaScript, but can be applied to any code language or SDK. Let me see, like the second one is a custom event. We name it button clicked. And we give it properties, like the button name was subscribe, and the plan was the pro plan. And it came from the pricing page. But it's not only for the front end. You can also do events from the back end. So let's say a user subscribed to something. Then we give subscription credit. You can pass it a user ID. We give it the plan type and also the amount. So those are custom events. But PostHog automatically captures essential events like page views, clicks, and form submissions, giving you immediately insight with no code change required. This is perfect for getting started quickly. But as your user base grows, all those events can crawl up and it's hard to see what is really happening. So for me, the real value comes from custom events. They let you track unique user behavior and custom business logic to what matters the most to your product. Like without custom events, you're just measuring traffic and not what the user actually is doing. But don't start coding right away. Start with the intent. First, identify what matters. What do you actually want to learn about the user behavior? And check your code base. Make sure the data is actually available. To provide the context, you need to have everything in one place. So you might need to change some code for that. And always validate. Is the event firing? Is it visible in PostHog? Maybe someone has an app blocker and doesn't show up. And is it correctly formatted? Just check to make sure. And let's look at some areas that are the most important. By default, all events are anonymous until you identify the user. And when capturing data about users, you must understand who they are. Without identification, you're tracking actions, not people. That means you can't personalize or analyze any properties. With PostHog, you can give the user a unique ID, like an email to identify them. In the code example, you can see after a login request, you can do PostHog.identify and we can give it an email. Then that user is associated to that email. And on the right, you can see an example. If someone clicks on a button, you always had the anonymous event, like browser data. But we also get the user data now, like an email, the plan type, and a sign-up date. And once you identify a user in PostHog, it connects all past and future events to the user profile. You can also create cohorts, like groups of users, and they can be based on properties, business logic, or behavior. And if you don't want to keep in mind, all those things rely on cookies. And in some parts, you don't want to use cookies, or you want to apply the GDPR or other regional restrictions. Then actually PostHog has a feature for that. This is recently new, but you can do tracking without cookies. Unfortunately, this disables user verification, like user identification, and also session replays. But you have no cookies. And what are properties? Properties are metadata attached to an event. They'll be useful later on for like filtering it. And you can attach as much or as little as you want. And PostHog supports strings, numbers, booleans, anything you can imagine. There are also different kind of properties. You have on the left one the normal ones, you can just fill in yourself. But PostHog also knows like some set and set ones. The set, for example, is something that goes straight to the user property. So when you log in to the interface, you can do like location in Seoul or any last location the user logged into. They have a set once. It means immutable. It can only be stored once, or like only be written once. This is, for example, like referral ID when you sign up. Now, let's talk about the group level tracking. If you're building a multi-tenant application, which means multiple companies or teams use the same platform, then user analytics is not enough. You need group analytics. You want to know not just who is using which user, you want to know how the company is using it. So for example, see which companies are adopting new features the fastest, or which one are lacking behind. So for example, in JavaScript, you just do postdoc.group, in this case company, give it an ID, and all events after that will be associated to that company. And finally, a quick but important tip when it comes to custom events is naming. Always follow a clear naming pattern. I use the object action one. It works the best for me, but your mileage may vary. So for example, a user signed up to a web page. Then the action can be user sign up instead of just sign up. Or user cancel their subscription. Subscription cancel instead of cancel. This kind of naming makes it easier to understand, query, and maintain. And a clear naming will save your time down the line when you want to work with your data. Like naming is very important. And PostHog also wants you to have good naming, because all those names will be visible in PostHog and they will do some analytics with that. But later on, more of that. So we covered events, properties, and user identification. It's the foundation of data. So what's the point of all this tracking? Well, it's to understand what's truly happening, not just what we think is happening. Now that we've captured the data, let's talk about what we can actually do with it. Dashboards are where your data finally becomes visible and useful. So for example, in PostHog you can create multiple dashboards. You have a dashboard for your engineering, to monitor your KPIs, or to monitor your technical health, or a product dashboard to monitor your KPIs, or a business dashboard for revenue checking. And all dashboards are dynamic, which means once you visit them, you have the latest data available. No need to refresh. This also allows you to react quickly to trends, both good and bad. In PostHog, every visualization is called an insight. Those are specific visualizations and analysis to run on your data. Let me introduce you a few core ones. There are more, but those are the most important ones. We have trends. They track event frequency and growth. So, for example, how many times did the button click or user sign up happened in the last 7 days? With this graph you can see that. Or funnels. This only talked about earlier. Funnels measure conversion between steps. It highlights the exact step where users are getting stuck. It's also your biggest point of optimization. Then we have retention. How many users performed an action on day 0 and performed the same or another action on day 10 or 12? This is simply the best metric for understanding long-term product health. And then we have user pets. It can help you understand how users navigate through your application, where they're getting stuck, or which features they're not discovering yet. Then we have stickiness. Allows you to see which one is gauging your product most, like which ones are your power users. And lastly, a life cycle. Those are helpful for checking your product health, or breaking down them by behavior, like new ones, returning, and so on. So here's where tracking of your properties really pays off. Like raw numbers don't tell stories. The insight you make, they tell stories. You don't just ask how many users signed up. No, you're asking which user, under what condition, are converting. And to make those filters, we can use user properties, like we said before, or the events. That's why it's really important to make as much meaningful events and properties to that event. You can also use simple time and date filters. And if you ever hit the limit of the UI in PostHog, well, PostHog still has your back. Like sometimes the built-in analytics aren't good enough. You want more than that. Luckily, PostHog has direct raw SQL access to all your event data. This means you're never locked into the UI. Do you want to calculate the average time from a user sign up to the first payment? You can do that. You can join PostHog data with Stripe, for example, and you can see the results. This makes PostHog not only an analytics tool, but a whole data warehouse for your product. And the last one is the highlighting one advanced insight. PostHog offers correlation analysis, which automatically finds non-obvious patterns in your data. So instead of guessing what drives retention, the tool will analyze it for you. So for example, users who complete their profile setups are 3 times more likely to pay. Those correlations are gold. They often highlight hidden user behavior that you can immediately turn into a list of opportunities. But numbers and charts are great, but sometimes you want to see what happened. Then we have session replays. They let you watch what a user is doing with the clicks, scrolls, everything, as if you're sitting right next to them. So you can instantly spot UX bugs, confusing navigations, or where users are getting stuck. It looks kind of like that. It's not just a video, it's a full instrumental session. So you can see what the user is seeing, but also it includes console logs, JavaScript errors, network requests, and performance metrics, and even events in PostHog you're firing at time. So you don't just see what went wrong, you see why it went wrong. For dev teams, it can save hours of guessing work. Personally, for me, this has saved me so many times, because I can get an error in the backend or a JavaScript error, but I don't get the full context. Like experiencing and seeing what the user did, it's so much helpful for fixing a bug. And a pro tip, if you combine a session replay with error tracking, front-end and backend, with surveys, also from PostHog, then you can trigger a question box whenever a user occurs an error, and then you can fill in the context on their own experience of what happens. So you get the error in PostHog, like error logs, you can get the session replay, and also the user feedback. Now, with this level of visibility, privacy obviously becomes a priority. So for this, PostHog provides granular controls. You can mask sensitive fields, exclude pages, and redact user data entirely. Everything can be configured to comply with GDPR or any local requirements. The control is in your hands. You decide what's recorded and what's not. You can also fully disable it. It's up to you. And then we have feature flags. Feature flag lets you deploy code without immediately releasing it to everyone. You can make targeted groups. So for example, you only want to deploy something to like 10% of the users in Korea. You can do that. And if something goes wrong, don't worry. Just toggle off the feature flag. There's no redeploy required. And once the feature flag is live, you can instantly turn it into an experiment. An experiment is what PostHog called A to B testing. So for example, you have group A, and group B is like 10% of the users in Korea. And you want to make a new checkout flow, but you only want to test it for the 10% in Korea to see, is it actually working? Is the new flow an improvement? So in code-wise, how do we do that? Simply, just PostHog.isFutureEnabled with the name of your feature flag, and then if it is enabled, you can render the new checkout flow. If not, render the old one. And once that user did the checkout, you can also provide the property as context, with like the feature flag. Was it enabled or not? Then we can measure later on, hey, the new checkout flow really works. It's better than the old one. Now, let's talk about AI. As more products start integrating AI features, analytics becomes more important, especially when you use AI from multiple providers, like Anthropic, OpenAI, Mistral, or Grok. It's essential to have unified visibility. Otherwise, you're checking multiple websites with how much things cost from multiple providers. And you want to know how much each request costs, and how long it takes, how often it fills. Well, with PostHog Analytics, you can do that. You can track the events, token uses, cost, latency, and error rates. So for example, in my products, I use the Microsoft AI Foundry. It works great, but their dashboard is absolute garbage. You cannot find anything. If you want to see how much it costs, it's really hard to see that. And especially if you use multiple providers. If I use OpenAI, then I have 2 dashboards to check. But if I send it to PostHog, it's all in one. And then I also can combine it with the user events. So you can make really smart data in there. But how does that work then? So for example, in many of our projects, I use the Vercel AI SDK. It lets you call multiple models from multiple providers in one SDK. And PostHog offers native integration that tracks every LLM call automatically. And there's no proxy needed. So what do you need to do? You see the width tracing that comes from the PostHog AI package, and we just wrap it around the normal Vercel AI SDK, and that's it. And we can also provide more context. So which user is actually calling the LLM? And other properties where you can just combine it. And those are just combining your LLM with your already website existing data. That makes it very powerful. Now, let's get our hands on. I will show you how easy it is to get from 0 to actually insights in, I think, 5 to 10 minutes. Give me some time, I hope it works with sharing. Oh yes, it looks like it's working. Yes, so if you sign up to PostHog in your free account, then you probably come to this page. Like you made a default project or you made a project, and then you can select what do you want to use. It doesn't matter too much what you're selecting here. Just the first thing is say like, hey, what do you want to configure? Then to help you setting it up. So let's say you want to start with product analytics. And in my example, I'll use Next.js. So first, let me show you what application we're doing. I created a simple finance dashboard for like example use case. Let me open it up. Oh, it's not recording. Oh, sorry. Yes. So this is a basic finance dashboard. What you can do, you can just add the transaction. Say, oh, I paid for Netflix. It's an expense, and Netflix, what it costs, I think $25 something. And which account? It's the main account. Then they will add the data in there. But we want to analyze who's doing it. How many times does this happen? So you can connect it to PostHog. And because Next.js is such a popular framework, they have like an AI setup wizard. It works 50% of the time. Sometimes it doesn't work. So let's hope it works this time. So we copy this. And then we create a new one. So it tells us, oh, it's a bit on the small side. Can I make this bigger? Yeah. Which region do we want to use? Yeah, I want to use EU region because it's based on your PostHog account. And my one is in EU. Then I need to log in. And it should already work. Yes, 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 yes. We can close this one. Go back. What it's now doing is now analyzing my project. I have Next.js, so I know that, and just adding the required things. And also, as many of you know, if you have an app blocker, then most of the times it will block like the popular analytics tools, like PostHog. But in this case, it uses Next.js, and we can make a custom endpoint, for example, like /insights, where it routes all the PostHog events to PostHog, so it will not get blocked by app blocker. It's taking time, sorry. No, I don't want to use the MCP server. And it should work. So let's see, what did it do? Yeah, give me some. Okay, it created an initializer PostHog. It did what I said. It did some rewrites, so we will still track when a user has app block enabled, because it was first go to the inside and direct it to PostHog itself. It added the PostHog package and some documentation. Now, if we refresh this page, then we already should see some events in PostHog if it's fast. Are we still doing something? Oh, yes, it's getting there. Okay, we had a refresh. They go back to PostHogs. Oh, yes, install complete. It got a first event. So let's continue. And you get some options. Like what I said before, you have auto capture. This means like you don't have to create custom events, you can automatically capture everything. Heat maps, web vitals, and session recording. You can just enable everything. This is where you can connect your external sources. What I said, like a data warehouse. For now, we can skip this, but it's also a really strong thing to connect other things for your business to make like the combination with Stripe. But skipping it for now. And like I said, we have a generous free plan. So we don't want to pay. Adding team members, no, unfortunately I'm alone. Okay, let's close this one. Okay, now we can see what happened. We go to activity. And this is our first activity. This is the automatically captured one. This is a page view. But we want to make some custom events. So in the code, when a user creates a new transaction, we want to give it to PostHog. So what can we do? We can PostHog the capture. Well, Cursor already knows. And we can add some metadata to it. So where it's coming from. We need to import this one. We did. And transaction. Okay. And if we save this one. And then we rerun this one because it's kind of slow, so we'll not auto refresh. If we add a transaction now, what did we pay? We pay for Apple Pay. And this expense, it was like $5 on the main account. And we save it. Transaction added. It should be in PostHog. Yes, we saw multiple things. Oh, not our event yet. So this can sometimes happen to PostHog that it's too many events at once and it's a big server they need to catch up. So it might take some time for your event to receive. Oh, well, we just saw it. Our event came in. But we want to make it visible. This is just events in there, but no actually metrics. If we go to dashboards, we can create a new dashboard. There are some pre-defined dashboards like LM metrics and things, but for now, make it simple, a blank dashboard. You can give it a name, new dashboard is good, and we can add an insights, which are the visualizations. And we can do it simple. We can go with the growth graph, or which one do we do? A new insight. And we want to do transactions added. Okay, and here's where we like, which event was it? So there, oh, don't go away. There are multiple predefined ones, and we have also our custom one, transaction added. We can say the total or count average, unique users. You can do many options, but for simplicity, the total count. And this is where we can add filters. So for example, you can add a filter. This is the event properties. So we can do the custom ones. If we go down, yes, like source, we can do it everything what we gave. User person properties, event metadata. We can make filters based on those things. But for now, we keep it empty. And we can see it happened one time because I was that user. And if we save this and add to our dashboard, then it looked like this. So I think within like 7 minutes now, we have actionable insights in PostHog. This doesn't mean much right now because it is one thing, but you can see what the meaning is. Oh, I need to go far beyond. Skip. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, we can do this one out. Ooh. Okay, this was my demo. Any question general, like about integration, hosting options, or specific use cases? Raise your hand.
Yep, I'm coming. Yeah.
I was curious about the, that's a bit hot. You mentioned about the correlation analytics and it would like kind of automatically find stuff.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. Can you elaborate on that?
That's also really based on the naming of your data. So when you have a bunch of data in PostHogs, for like small use case, it will not really work. But if you have like, say, like over 1 million events, then it will calculate correlations. So it will see like when this happens, when that happens, then this other thing will happen. But based on your naming schemes, it will just say what your naming was. So like when your pay is a custom event, then it will say pay. But really depending on your naming scheme. Just do some smart things about what the order is for your events.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Yeah, have you tried using this for mobile much?
No.
All right, because it seems really, really cool for web, but even the session replay, we could see it's only supported masking on web. So I'm like, damn it.
Oh, they have support for mobile, and I know they're growing for mobile. But I think Max is going to talk about that, so you might be in luck today. But I focus mainly on JavaScript and the front-end side, but they have almost every language or almost every SDK possible, like every framework, they have support for that.
Okay. I'll save for you.
Just a curious question. If we use Flutter or React or Vue, will it work the same because they all just use JavaScript?
Yeah, it will just work the same. It can do front-end and back-end. Doesn't matter.
Sorry. But I know you get to it, but would React Native work with that framework?
They have support for React Native. I have never experienced it myself, because I'm not a mobile developer, but I've seen it in the product list that they support it. So I guess they do. But Max maybe can tell you more about it.
I've noticed when you were signing in, there were options for US and EU accounts. So is it possible then to have hosting in Korea?
No, and for right now, as far as I know, they only have 2 regions. And it's more border compliance. Like when PostHog launched, it was US only. But then people like me that want to use PostHog were complaining, hey, I need to comply with GDPR and European rules. They say, okay, for that reason, they have a separate account, a separate PostHog hosted in EU. So I'm not sure what the need is for Korea, but if you're loud enough to PostHog, they might do it, but not sure. Not yet for now, but hey, give James an email. Maybe he'll do.
Will there be a way to somehow connect the client-side events with the server-side ones, like to make them kind of related to observability and monitoring?
Yeah, I already do that. So PostHog works on the client side and on the server side. And it can both send events, and on the server side, you have also error logging or error tracking, but also on the front-end side. Those are relatively new, error tracking, I also mentioned in the video they released it earlier this year. But for me, it works really good.
Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for your seminar. What would be some incentives for someone who's on Google Analytics to switch over to PostHog for e-commerce specifically?
For e-commerce specifically, I find Google Analytics really like, how to say that? It's not for developers. It's more for like marketers and like people that like promote the product. But if you really want to dig deeper and to have more information about the product itself, not only what the users see, then I think PostHog can offer more than just Google Analytics. And also, as far as I know, Google Analytics is get blocked by ad blockers and things, so you miss a lot of traffic. So you don't have like the fine configurations what you have at PostHog.
Thanks.
Oh, behind you, I don't know.
So I was going to say, presumably all this data that's being collected when people are interacting with the website that you've made is being stored somewhere. Obviously, you say they've got a US server and an EU server as well.
Yeah.
So does this rack up a lot of data, and are you paying to store it on PostHog servers, or are they sort of doing it for free for the moment and then we'll charge you later? Or
like I said, for somehow PostHog has a very generous free tier. Like I know many companies that are quite big, but they just are not for the free tier. You can have millions and millions of events and still be on the free tier. And that is stored in the US or EU. And especially for my use case, I self-host it because I want to just give more control, like where the data is actually stored. Like, is it in the Netherlands or is it in Germany? But you don't have to do that. The free tier is very generous.
Fair enough. Thank you very much.
Kind of related to that, how does their self-hosting work? That's super cool. You can do that yourself, but did they have like any enterprise gated features or something?
Actually, their self-hosted platform, of like the self-hosted tools, are the exact same as we have on PostHog Cloud. There's no difference. I think the only difference they have is in PostHog Cloud, you can have multiple projects. But when you want to have multiple projects in local, just deploy it multiple times. You can do it with Docker Compose. I didn't want to show it today because it might get too technical. But if you're curious about that, you can hit me up later.
So they were, yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the session first. Okay, so like I work for the with the CRM products, SaaS products. So usually we have to work with low code and then drag and drop like solutions, but we do write the code. But if you don't have access, or if you don't have access to embed the snippet of PostHog to the, is it possible? Like
there are some ways to add PostHog to like non-coding solutions.
Yeah, built-in integration, like
They have some, but it's really depending on the availability of the generation, the product itself.
product, right?
Yeah. So
Let's say Salesforce or Zendesk.
I think Zendesk they do. I'm not sure if they do.
Okay.
But PostHog is more built for developers. That's why I'm standing here. So
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there are like some parts we can develop, but there are some parts we cannot track. But it would be really useful.
yeah, you might check their
Yeah.
website and
I will check it.
hope
Yeah,
for
thank
that.
you.
But yeah,
Yeah.
not sure.
Hi, thanks for your talk. Quick question about feature flags. So one of our concerns why we didn't use feature flags yet is that if you self-host it and the server goes down, that it kind of impacts the whole platform. Do you have any experience on like fetching the feature flags while you deploy, or how do you do that usually?
Yeah, if your server for PostHog goes down, then yes, indeed the feature flags are not working. Same for if you have like you didn't configure your ad blocker right and off, then you also don't have feature flags because the feature flags are coming from external. That's why you don't have to redeploy when enabling something.
So that means you're just having the fallback and
Yeah.
you're not gonna like crash your whole platform because PostHog is crying with some errors.
You need to do some developing for that, but yeah, you need to build in your own fallbacks.
It's an amazing product. I'm getting curious about the analytics and trying to extract wisdom from the analytics. Can you show something that what I'm trying to? Am I making sense?
Unfortunately, lots of my things are like based on private analytics, so I cannot publicly show. I hope you are good with that. I didn't prepare like a full dashboard with like thousands of data because those data are private, and unfortunately, I cannot share that.
Yeah, hi. This might be a very dumb question. I'm not that technical, but I just wanted to know, what is the impact on performance when we track this kind of data? Let's imagine we are tracking a lot of things. We have a lot of dashboards, a lot of insights, a lot of events. Is it quantifiable? Like, is it going to impact the user experience in any ways?
I personally have never experienced that we had so many events that it like lagged the browser of the user or something else. It might happen if you have like a 10-year-old PC, but I have not seen that yet. But for example, if you disable like screen recording, like session replays, that is a lot of data. But if you just have like simple events, like custom events, it's barely nothing.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Hi, thank you for the demonstration again. And just one question is that, like, if I were to ask my people to use this program, I'm gonna have to ask them to learn how to use it, right? So do you plan on, or do you already have an educational video where I can ask people to watch before using this program?
Good question. I personally don't have them, but I know that PostHog has many videos on the YouTube, on their website. Actually, their website is quite fun. Let me show you. They recently did a redesign of their website. Can I show that? Can I drag it over there? No, I need to stop the presentation. Let's go to PostHog. Like, this is their website, like old school style. They recently redesigned it, but they have a really good documentation. So, for example, you're curious about capturing event, how that works. Then literally everything is here. They have a YouTube channel. You can find everything you need on the PostHog website. And they also have the MCP server, like I skipped in the video, but that works too, so you don't have to worry about that too. Oh, the cookie banner, of course! The Ursula von der Leyen, yes, the cookie banner. We have like red light cookies. They're like, in general, like you see like the hawks they have, the hedgehogs. I think they're a very cool company with a great branding, and the cookie one is one of those.
Any last questions? No? All right. Thank you so much, Melvin.
Last one.
Okay. My bad.
Well, thank you for your attention. If you want to dig deeper or discuss your product, or any questions about anything, or like self-hosting, you can scan the LinkedIn QR code, you can connect with me, or you can visit my website. I try to do blog posts about like those kind of things, but I've been busy recently and haven't the time to write a blog post. But I will try. Thank you.